I'm Hilary, a mom in Oklahoma, and we have reached the end.
And I'm Hannah, a stay-at-home mom in Texas, and I can't believe this is our last episode of the year.
This is episode 65 of the Don't You to Read podcast. Hi, guys. So, we are on the last chapter of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and we are covering chapter 17 today. So, it's crazy. We made it.
I know, it was very weird to me to finish.
It feels like it's been a long time, but then at the same time, it feels like we just started too. So, I don't know. I feel both.
Yeah, when did we even start this? Months? For sure, months, because we've done like
Yeah.
one a week and we're at 17.
Yeah. It's been a long time. Let's see. We started September 1st. Oh yeah, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the whole semester. That's nice.
Oh, yeah. So I'm thinking about where we left off last week and how I was talking and like kept going. Kept
Yeah,
going
in the
about,
chambers, the potions, and then walks through the fire, and then Hannah kept going. So, so
yeah.
Hannah, go ahead.
Well, the last we saw, yeah, there were flames and fire, and someone was there. It wasn't Snape and it wasn't Voldemort. And so here we go, chapter 17. It was Quirrell.
Which were you do you remember if you were surprised by that or not?
That's the sad part about having read this so many times. It's hard for
Yeah.
me to like go back to I do know when because I watched the movie first before I read the book. And when I watched the movie, I was like, "What?" So in that sense, I was like, "What?" And then as we continue the chapter and like I mean, the man with two faces, I was like, "I don't know if I like this." Like it definitely made me a little uneasy, like, "What is going on here?"
Yeah, it gets weird for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, with the unicorn blood, it was like that was
Yeah.
when it started to get weird for sure.
I'm trying to think of what else is like this. Um, there's some other fantasy books. I kind of forget that Harry Potter it can be like this because there's some other fantasy books that kind of do this, like that you're like, wow, it gets weird in there, and you kind of forget Harry Potter's one of them because I feel like it's like I guess people call Harry Potter a magical realism, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And so that's why it is I think she pulls it off, but there are moments like this, like that you're like, okay, this gets a little loopy.
Mhm. Something I thought was not funny, but I in this book, and we see this a lot in other fantasy books, which I think it really makes sense here because this is middle grade, but we get a proper villain monologue.
I had exact that note. I said villain monologue.
Yes, where Quirrell is just like, and first off,
Yes. And I have said here that I don't like those. So I
yes.
said, what do we feel about them? Okay, so I will say, obviously, I like on record don't like them.
Mhm.
However, I think this one was done pretty well, only because like we'll go through what Coral said. I do feel like the facts back it up. And if you like, because we have been going through chapter by chapter, bit by bit, and we see like we have been making notes of these things like all along. And so this is like where it clicks for Harry, but the writing does support everything he has said. Like, I don't know that there's anything that he has said that we're like, that is like, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like she just is
Mhm.
making us like we have to just trust her that this actually happened. Like we have been seeing these breadcrumbs the whole way.
Yeah, I definitely agree because I mean, I've seen this in a lot of books, but recently I felt this way about a thriller where I felt like you're given evidence for both, plot A or like ending A and ending B, and it flip-flops the whole time to where when we hit the end, I almost felt like it could have been either way. And it almost felt like the author was just like, let me just keep writing. And then at the end, I'll decide, like how I want it to land.
Mhm.
Whereas with this, totally, it was intentional and where the whole time, like whenever we would get different parts of the story where like Harry would overhear something or he would perceive something. So we were never like fully misled. We were just following Harry who didn't know everything at the time, but everything does make sense
A-
when you find everything
And
out.
it does like make sense that it was Quirrell, um, but I don't know that I thought it was extremely obvious either at the time. But okay, so we do know it's Quirrell now that he's the one there. And it's funny because I said I put a note that there's Smeagol vibes. Like he kind of
Yeah.
talks about almost himself. Like it's kind of weird. Like we see almost like a third person. I don't know. Like he talks about himself like he's not there, which is like the hint, of what's going on. But he's like, no one would suspect poor Coral. Like no
Mm-hmm.
one, he's just you know, whatever, like this innocent little weak nobody. And of course, people would suspect Snape because he's like a bat and dark, but it's not him. And Harry, that was Harry's surprise of his life.
Mm-hmm.
But it was definitely Smeagol vibes because it's like he talks about himself like back and forth, right? And it's like, oh, the master's using me, but I'm terrible, and I
Mm-hmm. He had
like
to
this.
be hard on me.
Yeah.
He said that.
Um, and I almost wondered if that's who it was like inspired by, but so he answers a lot of questions that the readers have had or would want answered, and so I guess we'll go through that. But I want to make note. The way Coral was talking was very chaotic. It was very like here, let me give you information, and then back into being like, and I need to be punished, and then here's answering something else, and I'm so stupid, and the master deals with me. I don't know, a little crazy, a little all over the place.
Which is fitting. He's been a bit of a nutcase this whole book.
Yeah, and so we do learn he is like possessed. I guess that would be the right word.
It's very weird because he's saying like
I wouldn't say possessed. I don't know.
he's not
Maybe.
I mean he is though. Like he is I think I don't know. I don't know like in what way though because or Voldemort is part of him.
Yeah, because he says he's like taking up his mind and heart, and he has to be on a body, which we'll get there. We'll get there. But
Oh.
anyway, so the first thing is Snape, he's like, didn't Snape try to kill me at the Quidditch match?
This was the
That,
biggest plot twist.
yeah, and he said no,
He's like
which
Snape
I need to go verify that little
He
bit.
said
When,
Snape was trying to save you.
yeah,
That was the ultimate. That Snape was trying to protect Harry. Okay, Harry's like, no, he couldn't take it in. This couldn't be true. It couldn't. He said, no, Snape tried to kill me. No, no, no. I tried to kill you. Your friend, Miss Granger, accidentally knocked me over as she rushed to set fire to Snape at the Quidditch match. She broke my eye contact with you. Another few seconds and I would have had you off that broom. And so Snape was muttering counter curses the whole time.
here it was. I found it in the chapter Quidditch. It says Hermione fought her way across to stand where Snape stood and was now racing along the row behind him, and she didn't even stop to say sorry as she knocked Professor Quirrell headfirst into the row in front.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So there you go.
Yeah, there it is. And then not only this whole thing, but Snape also, that's why he wanted to be the referee in the other one, where we were like, oh, well, he had, he could have bad intentions to make sure Slytherin wins. But no, no, no. His intention was to protect
To
Harry.
help Harry.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah. Okay, and that's at that point, Quirrell's that's when he snaps his fingers and ties up like magical ropes appear and tie up Harry. And so he can't go. And then Quirrell proceeds to tell him that he is the one that let the troll in to Hogwarts. So we remember that on Halloween night, that almost got Hermione. But it failed to kill Harry. And then he said, and also the dog didn't succeed in biting Snape's leg off. So we remember that Harry saw Snape like bleeding, right? Yes, like limping along, and he saw Filch trying to
Why
like,
was Snape trying to get in there, though? Do you know?
mm-mm.
Hmm. I mean, I'm sure there's an answer, but I'm like, why did he? Unless he was like chasing him or something. No,
Yeah, but he said like Snape has been onto him this whole time, so maybe Snape was like,
following him or something.
yes,
That would make sense.
and they didn't really know how to deal with the dog at the time, remember?
Yeah. And so this is the point where I was talking about last week,
You
where
really jumped like way
I
ahead.
know. I don't even know why. I feel like that had to have been like the from the movie because I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't read the chapter last week. Like I don't know. Um, so there's the Mirror of Erised, and this mirror is the key to finding the stone, which I was saying last time that we found out that the mirror, it reveals your greatest desire. So Harry is like trying to distract Quirrell from the mirror because he doesn't want him to look too closely and, find out where the stone is at that point. Something else that I thought was interesting about this whole, like, I mean, not monologue, but kind of, is that Harry, whenever he's like, no way Snape is trying to help me, and he's like, well, he hates me, but like, it doesn't make any sense. And Quirrell makes a comment that Snape does hate Harry and that he went to school with Harry's dad. And we will see more like another comment about this later from Dumbledore, but this is something that it's just setting it up because we will see a whole bunch of backstory
hmm
involving those two.
And Harry's like, "Well, Snape was the one that made you cry, right?" And Coral's like, "No, that was me." Like he's like, "I just that's when against me go." He's like, "I just can't. It's just really hard for me sometimes to do my master's bidding. I'm weak. I'm very weak." And he's like, "Oh, he was with you in the classroom?" And
Oh
Coral
yeah.
said, "He's with me wherever I go." And I was like, "Ooh, that's creepy."
Yeah. Yeah, and I isn't this at the point too that he starts hearing him? Harry hears the voice saying, "Use the boy." And so he
hmm
doesn't see anything yet, but he can hear, another voice talking to Quirrell.
Yeah, so he tells Harry he met Voldemort on his travels. How in the world did he but he did on his travels, and he said like he was on a quest, and he said Voldemort helped him see that there's no good and evil, there's only power, and those too weak to see it. So that's kind of like Voldemort's,
Motto.
yeah, like what he lives by.
Which can also be a little bit of a Slytherin thing, which I think Slytherin gone bad. I think that's why,
hmm
because Slytherin, I think, values power. But yeah, this is not good.
Okay, and then he talked about like, okay, so I met him, and he wanted me to steal the stone from Gringotts. So that's
Mhm.
the very beginning, very, very beginning of the book. And I failed. And then so he said that so that we know that was him now, where Harry thought that was Snape, of course. And Harry then looked into the mirror and saw himself he saw himself in the mirror, and he saw himself taking the stone out of his pocket, winking at himself, and then he felt the stone fall into his pocket.
It's so weird. I mean,
Yeah, I said question for dummy me.
yeah, my thing says, "Excuse me, what?"
Yeah, so that was a little confusing. I know we can talk about it, I guess, because Dumbledore says later, well, I set up the mirror to be like that. So I'm like, is this the one, like, not excuse, exception? Is this an exception? What you truly desired, not the truth, but because like sorry, I'm getting all the names confused. Dumbledore said like it's not really the truth, right? Like it's
Mhm.
gonna be something to drive you insane. So that's like where I'm like, just because you see it doesn't mean that it's true. Was this just an exception, a trick mirror?
Maybe because it feels like two totally different mirrors. I mean, it's not, but I'm saying
He
I'm
set it up for like with a spell, I guess, that
I
if you looked at what? But it was like only the right person, the person that wanted to find the stone.
It said only the person who wanted to find the stone but had no intention of using it.
So it'd be very few people.
But how did that, where did it come from? Thin air? Like that's what is like I don't understand. And anyway, it's one of those things that I'm like, huh? Even when I watch the movie, I'm like, what? But
Yeah, I don't
you know,
know. That's why I was like, what is that?
a lot can pass with magic, I guess, because
Yeah. Taylor was saying that the other day. He was saying this about Santa, and I'm like, if you have a young child, just mute this, I guess. And he goes, anything can be explained with magic.
yeah, it's
He's
true.
like, literally anything. You could be like, it's magic. It's magic.
It's it's Christmas magic, it's wizard magic. Uh yeah, so it's magic.
So that was one thing that I was like, I don't understand, but I should have looked up Reddit theories on this before.
Oh, okay. So this is where it continues to get weird. Well, first of all, I guess Harry lies because Quirrell's like, "What do you see? What do you see?" Because the whole time we hear the voice saying, tell use the child, use the boy, tell us, tell what he wants to know what the kid sees. That's what we're hearing. And so Harry's like, "Well, I need to lie." So Harry lies and but Voldemort because I don't know, do we know it's Voldemort talking at this point or not?
I
I
think
don't know.
so.
So
I
I'm
think
just
so.
gonna call him that. But like he knows. So he's like, the Harry is lying. And now he says, "Well, I want to talk to him face to face." And then this is when Quirrell unwraps his turban and Voldemort's face is on the back of Quirrell's head. And so then this is where we get villain monologue number two, because now we're getting Voldemort's monologue.
Yeah, and I do remember this in the movie and being like, this is real weird.
Yeah, I remember too. And I was like, Josh, what is going on?
Yeah, it's very weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's just really
Do you
unusual.
have the
So
note
yeah.
of what he said? Because I do. I mean, I don't
Um
think I have a direct quote.
oh, I just said quote there. I just put a note. So he unwraps the turban. He says he looks chalk white, glaring red eyes, and slits for nostrils. He looks like a snake. And he said he can only share form with someone else. Coral was the one drinking from the unicorn. That's it. You can say your quote though.
Yeah, it's very weird. Very, very, very weird that he's shadow and vapor. Yes, and he can only have a form when someone is willing to share their body. Once he gets the elixir of life, he can fully come back. So at this point, he's like, okay, it's over, Harry. It's better for you to join me, give me the stone, and be on my side. That's the option, or you're just gonna die like your parents. Is really that's what he told him. And it's very strange. I mean, just the whole Voldemort. And I guess we get more backstory because like at this point, we don't know anything. And we do find out more about like all of that, where he went and all of that. But it is always a very interesting part of the story for sure.
Made a note for myself to check the chapter of the Forbidden Forest, which is where he is drinking the unicorn blood. Because I was like, didn't they describe that creature drinking the blood? And no, they didn't. And
No.
she didn't. She just says a hooded creature crawled towards the unicorn, drank the blood, and then started coming towards Harry, and that's when they ran away. So no, I want to say the movie does show something. I don't remember. It's been a
Yeah.
minute. I'm gonna have to rewatch it, honestly, now that I've finished the book.
I know. I want to watch it again too. Okay, so let's see. Oh, the movie, the book, it like they start fighting and what like I guess Harry's touch burns Quirrell.
Hmm.
Sorry. Quirrell can't touch Harry without like being burned, right?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
then he blacks out. I and in the movie, I feel like that's a long scene. Or long, I don't know. In the book, I was surprised.
Yeah, it's
He
pretty short.
blacks out, gone. And then he wakes up in the hospital wing, and I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. It's well, because Voldemort tells him he needs to join him or die like his parents. Like he's like, you might as well just join forces with me. You're gonna die if you don't. That your mom died needlessly protecting you, which is important
hmm
for later. But yes, anytime Quirrell touched him, Harry was in pain, but Quirrell was also in pain. And they
Yeah.
said like his skin, like if Harry touched Quirrell, his skin would blister where Harry was. So Harry's like, just can't let go. I just have to hang on to him until I can't anymore because remember, Hermione and Ron were off to send an owl to Dumbledore. And he's like, I just need to survive for as long as I can. Which me making fun of Harry, like, I'm like, you can't stand up to Snape. But I mean, he stood up to Voldemort, so I don't know. So all of a sudden, yes, Quirrell was torn off. He doesn't know what happened. Harry doesn't know what happened, and his mind went blank. So it was, yeah, pretty fast. And that's it to the hospital.
And he's been out for 3 days. So I'm like, what happened to you? Like medically, what happened? But he's been out for 3 days. But Dumbledore is back. And like that was the thing too, is that he did make it. So like I was making fun of this process last time. How I'm like, oh, that would take so long to send an owl and to go get Dumbledore. But I guess he was already on the way back. He just happened to, it was good timing. So he got back, I guess, right after Harry got knocked out. And he got the stone and he said, we destroyed the stone. And there's a lot of like interesting things in this conversation. Like I felt like, I mean, honestly, it was like almost everything I think I highlighted because
Yeah,
um there's just a lot of info dumps.
like Dumbledore, he felt like something was wrong. That's what he said. So he got to London and he immediately came back, and he wouldn't have probably made it in time if he hadn't done that. So he didn't even get. So did we find out? Yes, right? That was fake, a fake message or no?
Um,
I think so.
I mean, it didn't say. All he said is it says that he's like, "Did you get Hermione's owl?" And he said, "It must have crossed me in midair. No sooner had I reached London than it became clear to me that the place I should be was the one I had just left." Like he doesn't say why or like, like what made him think that. So
Yeah.
that's it. We don't really know.
Well, okay. So he says the stone was destroyed. And so Harry was sad. And he's like, oh, so Nicholas Flamel, who remember we've been talking about like
Mm,
searching for him, he's going to die. Because you remember the stone gives you immortality. And there's a quote. I said quote. That's all it says because it was too long. Hang on. I liked this. That's why I want to read it. I have it highlighted. So basically, what I like the point of it. I'm looking for the quote, but what I liked about it is, um, I guess like, I mean, me too. I'm not a kid, but I'm still pretty young. I guess death is seen as like the ultimate, like the final ending, like the worst thing that could ever happen to you.
hmm
And, or I guess I shouldn't say just an age in general, like humanity. Sometimes we think death is like the worst thing that could happen to you. And Dumbledore kind of shed some light on that. Like, not really, not necessarily, depends on how you think about it. Because here, he said, Dumbledore smiled at the look of amazement on Harry's face. To one as young as you, I'm sure it seems incredible, but to Nicholas and Purnell, it really is like going to bed after a very, very long day. After all, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure.
Yeah, that's like my favorite quote in this book.
So, yeah, so Dumbledore's basically like death isn't the ultimate, first of all, ending, and it's not necessarily this bad thing either because like these people have been alive for a very, very long time. They're kind of done. They've lived their life and they're ready for the next step, you know?
hmm
So I thought that was a nice quote about life.
Yeah, I like that one. I had that highlighted too. And so then at this point, they're talking about Voldemort, and Harry's like, okay, well, I have all these questions. Like, I have questions I want to ask. And Dumbledore is like, yeah, you can ask me anything, and I won't lie to you, but there are some things that I won't be able to tell you. So, I mean, I appreciated that. I mean, he's keeping a lot, but it's fine. It's fine. Harry's still young, and he's not able to know
Yeah,
everything. And
he's very, very young. And
yes,
it's like I feel like honestly, I don't know if she intended to write it like spiritually necessarily or not, but I feel like that's kind of like message is like sometimes we don't get all the information because we
yeah.
can't handle it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I think as
Like
I
if
get
you knew
older,
what you went through, you'd be like you wouldn't sign up for the
or yeah,
journey.
what's coming. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
and so okay, so Harry is like, okay, one of his questions is he's asking about Voldemort, and he said, what does he
Like
say?
he's like he's not gone, is he?
Yeah, he already knows. He has the vibe. He's like, he's not really gone right. And Dumbledore says, no, he's not. He's still out there somewhere, perhaps looking for another body to share. That he's not truly alive, so he cannot truly be killed. And so, oh, he left Quirrell to die.
Yeah, I guess
And
yeah, he's gone.
it says he shows just as little mercy to his followers as his enemies. So, I mean, just used him, done, gone. And then
So I'm like, what's gone though? Like a little like a
he's a
spirit
vapor.
or
It said
yeah.
earlier that he was a vapor of, I don't know, okay? Strange. I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Where are you, like a genie like in a bottle?
Yeah.
What's happening here? I need the
But
visual.
do you remember in what was it a movie that they show like Voldemort as like a little baby or
Yeah.
like
Yes, that's coming. Don't worry. That we haven't hit that part yet, guys. Okay, so at this point now, Harry's like, okay, well, Quirrell could not touch me. Like we were burning, it was burning. Like he couldn't touch me, and hurt me. So Dumbledore says that Harry's mother died to save him because, oh no, no, to save him. But Voldemort didn't realize that love as powerful as Harry's mother leaves its own mark, not a scar, not a visible sign. That to have been loved so deeply, even though the person that who loved us is gone, it will give us some protection forever. It's in your very skin, and that Quirrell, who shared his soul with Voldemort, could not touch Harry for this reason. It is agony to touch a person who is marked by something so good.
I'm not gonna lie, I had a note like I was kind of let down by that answer. I hate it. I kind of it's like, well, she loved you. I'm like, oh.
But we do see that later. I mean, it is part of the magic. The love from his mom,
Mhm.
it did cast a spell of protection. And he
Mhm.
says he says that here, but like they don't actually say that, I guess, until later, like
Yeah, but
officially.
it's setting the stage for that, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like right here he says it like in a symbolic way, but I'm like, actually, it's a literal.
Mhm. Um okay, and so we find out Harry asked, "Did you send the cloak?" And he said, "Yeah, it was your dad's, and I thought you might need it." So we know Dumbledore now officially. We know that he sent him the cloak. And he asked about Snape, and Dumbledore was like, "Hey, it's Professor Snape." So he's still like, "You need to respect him. He's your teacher." But we know he's angry because his Harry's dad saved him once, and he thought maybe this would cancel his debt. We don't know why. We don't know any more about that story right now, but that's it.
Yeah, and Dumbledore compares the relationship
Hmm.
between Snape and Harry's dad to Draco and Harry, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's rough. That's rough. Um, so he said, then he asked the question, how did the stone get out of the mirror? And we talked about that.
Do you have Ron's quote?
Yeah, I had it. So Ron and Hermione visit, and so they talk to him, and Harry's basically just recapping everything. And again, Ron was like, he's just gonna die. Flanell's gonna die. Same thing. Harry said, "That's what I said." But Dumbledore thinks that what was it? To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. I always said he was off his rocker," said Ron. And he has always said that, so it's kind of funny. That was their little meeting. Hagrid comes and he blames himself,
I'm
which
so
is kind of
annoyed.
funny because it really was his fault.
Okay, but he's like, "Oh, this bothers me. This bothers me," because Hagrid's like bumbling and crying and like, "I messed up and I caused all this, trouble and danger and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Yes, but like why?" And then Harry is consoling Hagrid. He's like, "It's
Yeah,
okay." Like Harry is the one who was like out
almost
for
killed.
3 days in the hospital ward, and he has to now console this grown man. I
It
cannot.
be that way.
Everybody's always like, Hannah, why? Why would anyone not like him? And I'm like, I just need to like make a compilation of me, this whole book is talking about Hagrid.
Yeah, he wasn't very mature at all in this. I mean, it gets worse too. I feel like the next book
Okay,
is worse.
but the good moment, though, I will say this. Hagrid gave Harry a photo album of his parents, and I thought
Yes.
that was very nice. I was like, "Oh, that
He's
was
very
very
kind,
sweet."
but he's very foolish.
So I liked that
Um,
he gave him a photo album. That's it.
Something I wanted to note with their visit, or Hermione, I forgot, that they kind of suspect that Dumbledore knew, and Harry too, that Dumbledore knew and prepared Harry to confront Voldemort. That's why he allowed him to see the
Mm,
mirror. That's why he allowed him to have the invisibility cloak and play around with it. Like, he let him get all the skills necessary because he knew Harry was going to have the option to confront Voldemort soon. And so he was preparing him for that,
yeah, which is
which
facts.
did happen, but it's just suspicion at this point, like
Hmm.
Harry thinks. So then they have the end of year feast, and we know Slytherin's gonna win for the seventh year in a row, but we have all these last minute
This
like
was so savage. This was so, oh my gosh. Guys,
e-
there are decorations, banners, like Slytherin has won. And then Dumbledore like even says it. He's like, Slytherin has the most points. And he's like, but.
yeah, and so like 50 points for Haran for the best chess game. Of course, it's like exactly what they needed.
Yeah.
50 points for Hermione for the logic in the face of fire. And then 60 points for Harry for pure nerve and outstanding courage. How? I mean, I do think he deserves that.
And at this point they're tied.
Yeah, and then Neville gets 10 points for standing up to
Why
friends
did he only
because
get 10? I was so
because
mad.
they're like the greatest bravery. It says they're all kinds of courage. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. I'm like, not just as much, only
No.
10 points as
Yeah.
much.
Much less actually.
Yeah.
And I did. I had no. I was like, I think he should have gotten much more, much more, but I digress. So then he literally says, "We need a little change of decorations." And he's like, and then the magic makes it all change. And I mean, I just thought that was, yeah, I thought the audacity. I mean, I'm great. It's great that Gryffindor won, but I was like, wow. This is why
Yeah.
Slytherin is so mad all the time.
Yeah, they and so Harry's like, this is the perfect ending, the best night of his life. He found out he passed his exams, and he has peace. Like he's like, Snape's back to hating me. Everything's back to normal. Uh, so yeah, all is well in Harry's world, and he gets to go home. And it's always weird to me. I had a note here that he goes back to his like terrible family. It's crazy how he has like the craziest adventure with at Hogwarts, and then he goes back to this house again all the time, and I hate it, but
And they have no
I get
idea
it.
like what even went on this whole school year. I would assume they have no idea.
No, and that's why Harry at the end, Harry's like, they have no idea. I'm not allowed to do magic at home, so it's going to be a great summer.
Okay. So quickly I'll ask you my questions. Okay, who's your favorite character in this book?
Ron for sure. Yours?
I I don't know, Ron or Hermione. And then what is your overall like rating or thoughts of the
I
book?
mean, it's 5 stars every time. Like, and this was just a different type of 5 stars because I feel like this was more an academic read than like a vibes read because it was slow, but it
Mhm.
was still, I thought it stood up even like a slow read dissecting it.
Yeah, I loved it. And like there are totally moments that I have sassy opinions about, but there's nothing like this book. I love it so much. It is my favorite. I think we'll see if it remains my favorite, but it's always been my favorite of the entire series. So I have read this one so many times. I love it.
Yeah, me too. This is actually my third. This is my third time reading it. Okay, so really quick, we'll have a break for Christmas. So you can just use that time to catch up on all our old stuff that you haven't listened to or nothing. Just take a break with us. So, yeah, we'll be back in 2026. We're very excited. So, you can find me at Hilary Reads.
And I'm at Hannah Reads.
And our podcast is at Don't You To Read Podcast, all on Instagram. We're so glad that you guys joined us for this look, and we will be back in 2026 with all new content. We're very excited, and you guys have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas, as Harry would say.
Bye.
Bye.